What's up, YouTube? So we're here again on the alt account. Figured I would do another quick update on my progress, and while doing the update, I would talk a little bit about why you might be stuck in the game right now. I just helped someone out with their progression, and it gave me an idea for a video, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So as for progression now, obviously I farmed the crap out of Wyvern 11. I used literally all my leaves. I had a bunch of leaves, now they're all gone. This isn't where currency is, this is where currency is. Like, I'm like completely out of leaves now. Which is, I know it feels bad. I still gotta do my raid today. Hopefully I get another galaxy bookmark. That's something I'll do tonight. But yeah. I got Hell Raid on farm. I have Wyvern 11 on farm. I've pushed to Abyss 89. I haven't even tried 89 yet. I could probably do it. And I've also hit Challenger in Arena. Relatively quick. What else did I get done? That's pretty much it, right? Things that I didn't have before that I have now. I made my Dizzy 6-star finally. Re-geared her yesterday for Guild Wars. You know, it doesn't do a lot of damage, but she will win fights in Guild Wars, which is nice. Got this helm out of the thing. Good effectiveness, right? I brought my Deanne to plus 13. Still needs better gear, obviously. You know, there's still some pretty bad stuff on here, but that's okay. But I built Clury, and she's been like the key to a lot of my success. So if you want like my advice on like something on you should do, you should probably build Clury. I didn't build her for such I still don't have her built on my main account. Yeah, level 5 Arias. But building her on here like actually slingshotted my progression. It helped me in PvP, it helped me in Abyss. Mainly those two areas. It helped me in Guild War. She doesn't really help with any hunts, necessarily. I mean, you could use it for one-shot comps or whatever, but you really don't want to be doing anything but Wyvern anyways, so she's not going to help you in that area of PvE progression. She's going to help you more in PvP and Abyss. So, first thing I'd recommend is build your Clury, and then, of course, build your Montmorency. Montmorency has made progression so easy on this account. Like, these two units, PvP and PvE, and they're free-to-play units, right? Arby's still here. His gear has improved a little bit. I made him a little bit faster. Still does decent damage. I rebuilt my Kayron. He lacks crit and crit damage right now, obviously, but he's a little bit better build now. I got another Alexis out of the shop and put it on him. My C-Dom's gear is improved slightly. I 6-starred Lilius, which is another one of my 6 stars. I need to get a ring for her because she's just using this for the speed set at the moment because obviously her gear's trash, right? Stripped my Ruzid because I'm not really using them anymore, and I fully awakened Fighter Maya and threw on some extra beefy gear, lacking defense, but I can use her at level 50 in Guild War if I need to. And then I can make another 6-star right now, but I'm waiting to see what I'm going to do. I could 6-star Angie still, but there's nothing that I'm like, oh, I got to 6-star this right now, so I'm just holding on to it. I plus 15 my Ken. I don't know if I showed this last time. He's really lacking crit right now, but every other stat is in a really good spot, I think. If I could get his crit up, like, somehow, somewhere, maybe at a better piece of boots. Like if I can get a 40 speed crit boot with some good amount of crit on it, that would be nice. Maybe like 10 crit, 15 crit on a pair of boots. That would be sick. And then I can get a lot more on his chest piece. The helm's okay. The weapon doesn't have any crit on it either, so I can definitely get his crit chance up with a couple of upgrades. I've been using Soul to farm Wyvern 11. Yep, I've been using Soul, a fire unit. He does a lot of damage, and it's a pretty consistent run. It's got like a 90% success rate or so. And I was able to burn through like 100 leaves and like a bunch of stamina in here over the event without playing it all day. using Soul and Wyvern, so worked out fine. But yeah, that's kind of just the quick update. And another big key to my success is I've really been taking advantage of the equipment conversion. Like, as you can see, like, I have quite a few equipment conversion weapons. Obviously, you use whatever gem you get. You know, you only get what you get. But I've been getting some pretty good gear, just saving up pieces and converting them. Like, taking advantage of this equipment conversion system will really slingshot your progression. As you can see down here, I'm just like, these are like just some of the stuff I got out of Wyvern, right? That I kept just in case I was gonna level it. It's just, you know, average gear. And then I'm holding on the speed pieces here in case I get an attack fount or whatever, the attack gem, to convert into another weapon. I just hold on to them. And then, like, I've converted helms too. See, there's one. Rolled really low, unfortunately, but the subs were good. It still has 9 speed on it. I mean, it's usable, at least until I find something better. And then I got another one down here. This one could potentially be 13, 14 speed if I get lucky, which is still very usable. And I got another one here. Rolled really low so far, unfortunately, but still good, still usable. So what I'm getting at here is take advantage of the equipment conversion, because you can get some really good gear out of it. Yeah, you get some busts. Yeah, sometimes the chest gives you an effect resist one and you gotta roll a ring that ends up being completely useless, but that is what it is. See, like, for example, I got this one right here. This one isn't too bad. I'll probably roll this a few times and see what happens. If I'm not happy with it, I'll just recycle it again. And that's pretty much what I've been doing. I've just been recycling gear through the conversion system while farming Wyvern. And my gear has been, at a steady pace, improving. Like, look at this. The equipment conversion system is actually insane. Like, it's putting in so much work for me on this account. See, here's a bust. I mean, it's not terrible. Like, hitting flat health on a health main and then defense here, I might continue leveling this. As long as I stay away from these two, I can use this as a bait ring, like on Fighter Maya or whatever. It's still decent. Yeah, and as you can see here, I'm holding on to all of these crit set rings. I block anything that's on speed set with speed here, and I test roll it. You know, you never know. You'll end up with something that looks like this. Like, you should always roll it a couple times to see what happens. If it's really bad and you dodge the speed the first time, just leave it. You know, it's fine. But if you hit that speed, roll it again. You know, you might end up with a 16 speed, 17 speed, 24 speed piece of gear. It can always happen. So it's never bad to just kind of test the waters on that. This one I'll probably continue leveling. It's still 8 speed on effectiveness. I could use a broken set on Bazaar, for example. Yeah, so that's one really big tip I have to give is take advantage of the equipment conversion, because it is so good. Like, it's so good. I'm getting so many good pieces of gear from it. Yeah, it's RNG, but guaranteeing the main stat and guaranteeing the set, that removes a lot of the RNG here. Because if you figure, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things, you're removing 20% of the RNG in making your gear. So it's worth doing. 20% is a lot. Wait, my math is terrible. It's 33%. You're moving a third of the RNG. This is why I didn't do great in school. But, yeah. And then another tip I can give, level up speed boots. Like, even if the subs aren't great, like, I bought these out of the shop when I first got, like, up in the ranks. Like, I was like, oh, some speed set speed boots. Like, these can always go on an aux slots eventually, where you're not too worried about stats in the beginning of the game. Speed set speed boots are just really important. See, as you can, I have a couple down here. Like, they're not rolling great, but I'll probably still level them up just so I have an abundance of speed set speed boots. They're just nice to have. And if they do roll completely bad, then I can always recycle it in conversion, because speed boots are the ones you're going to be wanting to craft the most. And that's pretty much all with that. And then now with, like, Mola priority, right? This is another big important thing. As you can see here, I have 77 molas and 5 MolaGora goes still. I can come in here and do random units. Like I could max out Bikin right now, but there's no reason for me to do it. Like I'm not really using her. If I was to start doing a Banshee one-shot team, which I could do on this account, actually. I have Arbiter Vildred. I could full clear that first wave, no problem. I could defense break with Clary and then one-shot with Bikin, just fine. I'm pretty sure I could do a one-shot Banshee comp on this account, but that's not my priority in farming right now, so I'm just not doing it. I'm sticking in Wyvern. I need to get speed gear for everything, really. Speed gear is king. There's really no reason to farm anything but Wyvern. So if you're trying to get into another hunt or trying to get other hunts on auto, just stop. You don't need to. Not until you're late game. When you have plenty of speed gear and you're doing plenty of content and you're getting good sky stones coming in from arena and you're not really worried about like pushing legend or anything like that, that's when you want to start farming your counter sets and your destruction sets or whatever. If you have an A Ravi, I think that's the only exception to where I would go and try to farm some counter pieces because she's just really good on counter set. But it's not necessity. You can use speed set on her just fine too. That's more so for like RTA, like you want counter set, right? So that's it with that. So Mola priority, just put your Molas in stuff that is gonna be a good investment. Like Mola is investing. Literally, that's why they say invest in a character. Like I have a plus 15 BBK here. That's completely naked, but she's not like useless. I have a good cleaver here. I could always be like, hey, I need to cleave something. I have a plus 15 BBK. It's there to go. Same with him. I got him plus 15. Well, I will have him plus 15. He's the reason she's naked right now. So if I wouldn't have pulled him, my BBK would have all this gear, I'm sure. And then yeah, just look for value units. It's another thing. So let's go to the journal here. Like these are units that I think if you have them and you don't have them built, I think you should build them. So we'll just go to all heroes. Let's just go through the different classes, right? So Ranger, there's really no need to build like any Ranger in the game, really, unless you have SSB. SSB is the only unit that I think you really need to build. Lydica's pretty good for Abyss, but she's not really good for anything else outside of that. Like the only I think must build out of here if you have it is SSB. And then Watcher Shuri's just nice to have for reasons. You know, he one-shots things. He's good for PvP. Not really good for anything else. To one-shot Banshee, you need really good gear, or you need to rely on RNG. So if you want to use him for that, sure, but that's whatever. Curious, you can do everything you need to do with her at level 40. So you don't even need to level her. And then Faithless Lydica is just a nice PvP unit. But I wouldn't recommend building her until you're late game. So if you pull a Faithless Lydica, there's really no reason to build her right away. Unless you're going to use her as a CR pusher for arena. On offense, I wouldn't even touch her, to be honest. I would wait until later in the game. And Soul Weavers. Soul Weavers are really important. It's nice to have an abundance. So her, obviously, right away, build. All the Soul Weavers are good, right? Next priority off of her, I would say either Deanne or probably Tamarin. If you have Tamarin, she's great for like a lot of PvE content. But Deanne, Angelica, Acades is amazing too. SSA is good for PvP, and of course Maid Chloe Ruel, all great. Elena is more for like PvP, and then Destina is just another nice to use for PvP. She doesn't do great in PvE, but like any Soul Weaver can do really good for you, except for like Ren's okay, but she's not really like used anywhere. And then Blaze Dingo, like he's kind of used in RTA a little bit, and he's good for raid morale. So if you do have him and you want to build him, I think that's more of a late game goal, not necessarily early game. And then Mascot Hazel's alright too, I guess. That's really it. I wouldn't even bother doing Jet anymore. You can use him at level 50 if you want to do a longer Banshee team, but I just wouldn't even touch Banshee until you can one-shot it personally. Then coming into here, all the Thieves are good for their own things, depending on what you want to build. Ruse is very good early game, but you don't have to 6-star him. You can use him level 50 to push through Masters in Arena, or push up to Masters. He's very good for that, but I don't use him for much after that. I use him on both my accounts, and I just kind of stopped using him. Mursa's just people like using her, so if you want to use her, I guess. Alexa's great for Wyvern. You can use her level 50 to farm Wyvern. Ren is kind of a late game niche. BBK is a cleave, obviously. Karen's really good for Wyvern. Sid's a good single target DPS, but you won't use them in many different places. Some people really like Sid. So if you don't really have much DPS options for like stuff, then he's just a good option to build. I just wouldn't invest heavy into him anymore because, you know, most of the time he's not going to be doing anything for you. He's just going to be sitting there. And these two, wait until late game when you actually have speed gear. And that's why I say sit on MolaGoras. Like, prioritize what you're going to Mola, what you're going to use late game. There's no point in Molaing, you know, your Coley to plus 15 that you're manualing Wyvern with, right? Because she's not going to do much for you late game. I mean, if you really like the unit, then go ahead, but that's whatever. RB, obvious, plus 15. If you have him, build him, duh. K-Ron's amazing, build him. Vildred's amazing, build him. Kisei's okay for Wyvern, but that's where she's going to sit most of the time. Baiken is, well, if you have Baiken, probably should build her. Violet's good. Like, all the 5-star thieves are pretty good in their own thing. Sezbomb still exists. He's a decent farmer. Decent farmer, used in a lot of one-shot comps. Haste, Spez, obvious extinction, you know. I think all the warriors are good. Like, literally all of them. It just comes down to preference what you want to build. Like, Luna's great for Wyvern. Sigrid's great for Wyvern. All of the ML warriors are good for PvP. Chloe's good for Wyvern. Ken is great general purpose use. Ravi's seen some play in RTA. Yufine's great for Guild Wars. Lilibet's great for Guild Wars. Alencia's great for RTA. Sermi is great for Guild Wars. Like, all the warriors are good. But build them as you can gear them. Don't just level them up and you don't have gear for them, right? I think all of the 4-star warriors are... Okay, well, I'll take that back. General Pergus is good for Guild Wars. I don't think he's great on arena defense. He doesn't do enough. But he's good for Guild Wars. On offense, he's a great light bait. Pergus is pretty good. I've seen some pretty good ones. Fat Cat's good for arena defense, and these are all useless. This one's pretty useless too. Don't touch her. She's okay early game, but she's not a unit you want a 6-star, I think. Unless you like her, of course. And then Corvus, rest in peace. And Helga you can use at like level 40 for early game cleaves. And then Lena's a great farmer. And Commander Lorena down here, which I haven't done on my alt, is great for progressing through PvE. Any very brand spanking new account, I would recommend do her specialty change as fast as you can. Terranor Guard is great for Wyvern, but you can use them at level 50. So yeah, that's great. All these knights are good for what they do. Cecilia's kind of... I'd say she's probably the weakest out of the bunch. She's good, but she's not on the level of these. Charlotte's great for PvE. Charles is probably one of the best units in the game. Tywin's great. Crowd's great. Lilius is great. FCC is amazing. Ambition Tywin, he's kind of his own thing. If you pull him, then I would wait till late game to build him, personally. And out of here, these are the interesting ones, right? Crimson Armin and Fighter Maya. I think once you start getting into mid-game, if you have one of these, you should build it. Just do it. It's going to help you win a lot more in Guild Wars. That's basically what they're for. There's a lot of dark units in the game. These are made to take their damage, basically. And then Armin's really good for dealing with a lot of them, too. The rest of these are just kind of okay. Rose, you could do what you want to do with her at level 50. Troublemaker Crozet is a good mitigation unit if you have him. I don't think he's a priority build, but if you want to build him, then go for it. And then Falconer Clury is a 100% build. I think if you don't have her build, just build her right away. Just do it and you won't regret it. I slacked for a really long time on doing it, and now I wish I would have done it sooner because a lot of the stuff I've struggled with would have been a hell of a lot easier. And then Eaton, of course, is basically the same thing as Fighter Maya and Crimson Armin. If you have him, build him. He's easier to scale up than they are. You can plus 15 him with Stigma, of course. Kiki Rat, if you have him, he's the same thing. Terranor Royal Guard is okay if you need him for like a Wyvern bait. And then like Chaos Inquisitor, I would pass on his SC, to be honest. I've used him a lot, and I think he's subpar. He's okay as a Crow bait, but that's about it. And coming up to mages, I think All mages are pretty good for the most part. Basara, you can do what you want to do with them at level 50. You don't necessarily have to 6-star them. Melissa's kind of mediocre, I think. All of these are good in their own right. Still, they're good in mainly like RTA usage. S10's just a great single target DPS. If you have S10 and you get her early game, I think your progression is going to be pretty easy. Vivian's really good. Luluka's okay for Wyvern. I prefer Terranor Guard over Luluka, so that says a lot. Tenembria is more of a RTA unit, and these two are just mediocre, I think. People thought Ball was good after his buff, but he's still not anywhere. And Ludwig is niche. So, mages are meh. Their power comes in their ability to hold book. Champion Zerato, build him right away if you have him. He's really good. Oxlots, you can do what you need to do at level 50. Cdom, if you pull early, is really good. And that's about it out of here. Cecil Mercedes is okay as a cleaver. But I would use like BBK and stuff over her. But she's still good. The rest of these are just kind of, if you want to build them, sure, whatever. But SC Carrot is also sick. I'm using her on my main account. She's really good. So I would recommend doing her. And then that's pretty much it out of here. Gloomy Rain's cool. Harada's cool. That's pretty much it, right? So yeah, I just went through every unit. If you have those units, I would recommend building them. If I talked about it. If I even said its name, take a look at it. Unless I said it was like not really good for some reason, or if it doesn't have much usage, then yeah. So I just wanted to go through that really quick. Artifacts. I always forget to talk about artifacts. So, for me, like, let's just start from the top. It's good to have multiple rods. This is something you need to get. If you haven't got it out of the shop and you still don't have it, this is probably one of the reasons why you're struggling doing content. This is a really important artifact to have. Like, probably the most important artifact in the game for progression. You need this on your healer. Because most of the time you can't sustain without it. That's unfortunately just how the game is. It's hard to do Wyvern without having a rod. Unless you have like something really tanky. But you're going to have to run a tank and a healer on the side instead of just a healer tanking. Which is going to make your runs take a lot longer. So this is a really important thing to have. A potion is a really important thing to eventually max out just for PvP purposes. I don't use potions much anymore because immunity is literally on everything. But it's nice to have one at plus 30. And then, you know, everything else just kind of comes. It's important to max out a Joker, I think. And have a second one for whatever secondary DPS you're using for Wyvern. You don't necessarily need to max it out. I mean, you can if you want, but I think it's important to have 2 Aureus maxed out. I kind of wish I had a third on my main account now for RTA purposes. I would say max out one, at least one of every 4-star artifact. And then 3-star artifacts are a little bit more niche. I mean, I still keep a copy, as you can see. Like, I have an Ancient Sheath, a Compass, Candle, Rannons. Just in case I ever want to go back and use them, I have the option. And I'm not trying to pull for them last minute. I think it's important to have an Oath Key maxed out, or 2. I'm not sure where mine's at. Yeah, I got one right here. Very important to have later in the game. And then extra potion vials are always nice, but really not necessary. Most 5-star artifacts are useful. I would hold on to them unless you really need something out of the shop. And then stuff like this, you can get rid of it. Border coin. Not always super necessary. I realize I have this. I can put this on my kin. I forgot I pulled that. That lack of crit. Huh. Because my Sigurd Scythe hardly procs on that dude anyways. So yeah, there's some niche artifacts that are 5-star that you could probably sell. If you have drinks, start putting your bottles in it. From the shop every rotation. You won't regret it. Just build Yuna eventually and then you'll dumpster all over everything. But yeah, that's kind of a guide to progression. With my progression over here. 100% free to play. Haven't brought a single pack. Progressing just fine. Yeah, see, like, where's the newbie pack? Isn't that in here? They get rid of, oh, the welcome pack. See, that shit's still in here. Like, I haven't gotten a single thing. Not a single monthly. Nothing. And I'm progressing pretty quick. Granted, yeah, I have RB, but that's okay. But we're fighting, I wouldn't say like a top 20 guild, but this is a pretty top end guild, and I'm actually like not losing every single fight in Guild War as well. I use a level 50 fighter Maya. So you can progress. Just manage your resources in a smart way. Don't waste your MolaGora. It's really important. Don't level up shitty gear. And that's pretty much it. I mean, I don't know what else to really go over. Don't buy anything from Hoochie. Except for like maybe leaves.
The world's greatest merchant.
I think that these charms are kind of worth it too, but I'm not going to waste any of my... I'm not even going to buy the MolaGora on this account because my Sky Stones are precious and I use them all to summon. So, that's it. Be sure to like the video if you enjoyed it. It helps out a lot. And if you're new here, subscribe. Let me know if this helped you down out in the comments. And be sure to check out the Twitch stream. I stream pretty much every day. The time kind of varies, but usually I'm live around 11:30 Eastern every night. And I stream until early morning. Sometimes I'll go live during the day to do Guild War if I didn't stay up the whole night before and do it on reset. So it just depends. Join the community Discord. You can find that in the description. You can find my Twitch channel link in the description as well. And you guys have a good one. Peace. Fuck.